Hi, it's Justin from AskJT, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my content journey. In particular, as a small business owner, you might have tuned into this channel for some hints and tips, and I'm going to tell you about why I think you should create some content. I think a lot of people are put off by it because it takes a huge amount of time. It seems like there's loads of technology hurdles, and there are, and I'll tell you just a bit about my journey today, because if you've watched some of my earlier videos, you'll hopefully notice that today's video is actually better quality. And I've done a few things to improve the quality of my videos. So where are we starting today? I suppose is, why do you want to create content, and why do I create content as well? I decided to start creating content really for the benefit of my clients at my accountancy practice. So if you imagine that a client would email me and say, Justin, I'm thinking about buying a company electric car. What are the tax consequences of that? So if you search around on my YouTube channel, you'll find a video exactly about that. But it's incredibly useful, as anytime I'm asked a question like that, I can send an email over to the client and say, watch this. It saves me having to write another email or kind of explain to them on a one-on-one basis, that I could all of a sudden get that information out to everybody. And of course, what we can do is drop it into an email mail shot or something like that, and we can blast it out to all the clients. So all of a sudden, we've got that knowledge out to loads of clients all at once. So that's the first thing, is actually, if you're running a small business, YouTube content, or any video content for that matter, whether you're doing it through YouTube or different platforms, is actually really, really useful from an information point of view. But the great thing about YouTube is I can put it online and that anyone can benefit from it. So I've got a separate education brand, which is AskJT, which is this channel here. And anyone, you're here today watching this video, and you're getting some information from me. So, how did it all begin, I suppose? Well, I'm a huge advocate of something called Lean Startup, which is like an innovation principle. And it's looking about what you've already got around you. So I already had a Mac, and obviously it's got an inbuilt microphone, and you can just open that Mac and record something. People will forgive poor video, but they won't forgive poor audio. And right here, we've got my Fine microphone. And this was one of my first purchases that I made when creating content. I wanted to improve the quality of the content that I was producing. And the easiest way to do that is through a decent microphone. And actually, it's really, really useful for doing all sorts of stuff. So I do some podcasting. I use the microphone as well. And even on a video call with a client, I'll sometimes plug the microphone in. And there it is, improving the audio quality, which is absolutely brilliant. The next thing that I added was a ring light, and I've got that ring light on at the moment, and it sits in front of me. Very, very simple. They're fairly inexpensive. I think I paid over £8 or something like that. Just plugs into the USB port, and it just provides a bit of additional light. So I've been using that for a while. But again, still using my Mac. The problem with using the Mac is the camera on the Mac. It's really poor. So in poor light, you don't get the best results. The room that I use is a spare bedroom. I've got a Velux window over there. I don't get huge amounts of natural light in. And if I'm recording in the evenings after work or in the winter, the light level can be really, really poor. And that affects that Mac camera really, really badly. So what I've done recently, I've added a box light. I don't know whether you've seen, and professional photographers have those lights that look like a bit like umbrellas. Well, it's a bit like that, but it's square. And if you just search for box lights on Amazon, you'll find them. And again, they're really, really inexpensive. About £35, I think I might have paid for mine. Yeah, absolutely great. The next thing that I started doing in order to actually capture the video is I was using an app that I already had at work called Loom. Loom's really designed for recording kind of screen captures. So if a client was having a problem with a piece of software, I could just jump onto Loom, open up the piece of software, and I could show them how to do this. I use this all the time when I'm using Xero, the accountancy software. A client doesn't know how to do the fixed asset register, for example. Jump on a video, I can record them a personalized video. Because I was already paying for that software, great. I already had a piece of software, knew how to use, and it reduces down the learning curve. Problem is, Loom is it's not really designed for content creators. It's designed to help avoid meetings. So rather than having a meeting to discuss something, you just record the video, you send it to someone, they get the screen capture, job's done. So I've I've just decided recently that I'm going to move on to Riverside FM. I'm having a bit of a go with that today. Riverside FM's got all sorts of inbuilt features into it. Some of those features that I did have access to in Loom, so things like AI editing. But Riverside, it means that if I wanted to turn this into a podcast, then I absolutely could as well. It'll create some YouTube shorts for me off the bat of whatever I produce. It's a really, really clever and intelligent piece of software. Well, it's specifically designed for content creators. That has allowed me to move on to adding a tripod and using my iPhone 16 Pro. When I upgraded my iPhone a little while ago, I decided, I'm going to go for the Pro. I want really, really good video quality, and I've just not had the time to really get my head around it. And I think that's the key thing is when you open up your computer, you've got an inbuilt webcam, an inbuilt microphone. It's super easy to get going. But the minute you want to improve the aesthetic quality of your videos, you have to really start thinking about, actually, I'm going to need a microphone. I'm going to need a ring light. I'm going to need a box light. What software am I going to use? How am I going to edit it? The complexity level suddenly starts increasing. And that's really where I am at the moment is I've tested my concept. I've put some videos and I've been a bit sporadic over the last couple of years, putting videos on that I think my clients would need, not necessarily what a wider audience wanted. Whereas now I'm starting to see some traction in the content that I'm producing. I'm getting more visitors to my blog. Although my podcast hasn't been going very, very long, it's been really, really well received. And I'm starting to see regular subscribers coming onto the YouTube channel. So there's clearly an appetite for it. And I've been listening to feedback as well. Contact of mine, John, sent me a message the other day and he said, just in that podcast you did on limited companies and landlords was really, really useful. I've shared it with a couple of people. Right. I'm getting the right signals back. My friend Ross, avid reader of my blog, he's like, don't always agree with you, Justin, but there was some really useful stuff coming out of your blog. Yeah, and these are kind of signals that actually I'm producing content that the small business community actually do want. So I think if you're a small business owner and you're thinking about doing your own content, frame it up in different ways and think about how you can do it. And one of the kind of major thoughts that I've got for you today is when you produce a piece of content and you put it onto YouTube and, not many people come, you do need to promote it. And a little while ago, I said to someone who was helping me with the brand strategy for the business, I said to them, I'm only getting 30 hours of watch time every 28 days. And they were like, that's amazing. And I never thought about it like that. I was just like, it's so small. It was like people are tuning in every 28 days and watching you. And I'm like, yeah, that is amazing, actually, when you frame it up like that. We don't need to be a Mr. Beast at the end of the day, getting millions and millions of views per video. That's not what it's all about. It is about actually who is my niche audience, my small business owners. There's only so many of those in the UK. Actually, hundreds of views is absolutely fine. You don't need to be getting into the tens of thousands of views. I just need to be helping a few people here and there as you go. And that's how you want to frame it up. You're just thinking about helping a few people as you go, ultimately. And then if you can get some traction, then great. And I think one of the important lessons here is it does take a long time to get any sort of traction. And I've been really, really consistent having this sort of 12-week intensive sort of content creation window at the moment where I've decided to give the business a really, really good push for my education side. And you know what? All of a sudden, we're starting to see traffic build just because it's consistency. And I think it's just proof that actually, why didn't I do this sooner? And I've really, really committed, even though I'm sort of 5 weeks into that program, that I'm going to become better and actually produce content and commit to it every week. And I'm now already weeks in advance. My blog content is already pre-scheduled up until November. My podcast content, I think I'm a month in advance. My YouTube content, I'm probably only a couple of weeks in advance. But I think you've just got to get that momentum going. The biggest challenge you've got is distribution, getting it out. And every week, one of the things that I do is I've got my email marketing database. I get an email out to them and basically say, this is what's on the blog this week, this is what's on the podcast, and this is what's on the YouTube channel. And it's something different every single week. And a few people that come along and they watch that content, and that's great. I'm helping them. It's all about, I think, starting small. You can't, become a huge success overnight. There are one or two people who will do that, but that's not necessarily what your objective's all about. Anyway, I hope that's been really, really useful. Please, please, please subscribe to my channel. It really, really encourages me. If you leave a comment and say, can you produce a video on something, I'll try and put it into my content plan and I'll try and address that point for you. I'm really, really keen to engage with people. So please, please consider subscribing and leaving me a comment. I hope you've enjoyed that and it's given you some ideas and hopefully encouraged you to go and create some content. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye.